Hello and welcome everybody to our live Q&A chat here from the University of Glasgow. I'm delighted to be joined here by two of our wonderful students today. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr Adele Redhead. I'm the Deputy Dean with responsibility for postgraduate taught students here in the College of Arts at the University of Glasgow. And I'm a senior lecturer in information studies here at the university. Luna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Luna. I am an MLit student in comparative literature, and I am doing my dissertation on the Hades and Persephone myth, which I hope I get to talk about a little bit later.
Good. Well, we'll make sure we ask you a couple of questions about that in a moment, Luna. Lily, where are you from?
Hi, I am from Canada. I'm from Alberta, Canada, on the west coast of the country. And I am doing my master's in the music industries here. And my dissertation is going to be on the inclusion of women in the Edmonton music scene in Canada.
Oh, fantastic. Both really, really interesting topics. It's great to see so many of you joining us online. If you'd like to put in the chat where you're from, then that's really good for us to know. Last time I did one of these chats, there was somebody who was joining us from Grimsby, which is where I'm from, which made me absolutely delighted. So I'm sort of hoping we'll have somebody from that part of the world, but also perhaps places which might be a wee bit more exotic. So Lily, you said you're from Alberta, Canada. Luna, whereabouts in the world are you from?
I'm from Denmark, originally Copenhagen, and then somewhere nowhere, no one ever knows where it is. So let's just say Copenhagen.
Right, brilliant. Good. So put where you're joining us from the chat. So I'm seeing some of those come in already. So Turkey and Texas, for example. So that's absolutely great. Welcome here to Glasgow. And I wondered, neither of you are from Glasgow itself. We're sitting here indoors, sadly, because the weather outside is amazing. Could you tell us a little bit about what you think the most interesting thing or the best thing about Glasgow has been? I'll come to you first of all, Lily.
Yeah, I may be a little bit biased because I'm a music student, but the city here is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its music scene, and it's just absolutely bursting at the seams with opportunities for people to go see live music, which I think is a really beautiful thing. Especially now that the summer is coming and everything's warming up. Was just like street parties with live music, live bands on the street. Every restaurant, every pub you can find, there's singers and live bands and that. So I think that's just a really beautiful thing that the city commits itself to.
Yeah, I really love the music scene in Glasgow. There really is something for everyone as well, whether you're interested in really up-to-date bands or classical music, or just going along and seeing who it is that's playing in the local pub. There's so much music about it. It's great. Luna, what about you? What have you really enjoyed about Glasgow in your time here?
Oh my God. I think just first of all, the architecture is gorgeous. It's such an old feeling city, which, as coming from Copenhagen, which also has that old European feel, it's been absolutely amazing. But I think that in general, the inclusivity of Glasgow, it feels safe, it feels good. I feel like everyone talks to you. You can talk to anyone. It's just so lovely to see all the people here. There's a diverse range of people, and everyone feels included. So that's really good.
Yeah, and it's that old thing that people often say, is that you'll be standing at a bus stop in Glasgow and you'll find out the life story of the person standing next to you in the 5 minutes it takes for the bus to come. It really is such a friendly city. I love Glasgow. I'm not originally from Glasgow, as I said, but I've lived here for more than 25 years, and it really is such a brilliant city. And you're right about the architecture as well. So as well as being the UNESCO City of Music, we have been City of Architecture and Design in 1999. We have so much wonderful architecture. People always think about Charles Rennie Mackintosh and Glasgow, but there are so many other architects who have their base in Glasgow as well. And of course we have the amazing campus. So the campus is absolutely beautiful. And if you have a look around our website, you'll see the most beautiful photographs of the campus at all times of year. Have you liked getting to know the campus? So we'll come to you first, Luna.
I absolutely loved it. to get to know the campus. I haven't been on campus as much because I am a postgrad student. So I only had so many classes to go to, and I live quite far away from the campus. But the time that I spent there was absolutely magical. I love the old buildings. I love the Huntington, and I love the library particularly.
Yeah. The Hunterian Museum and the Hunterian Art Gallery are just fantastic places just to go, and even just to kill a little bit of time before, in between classes, or if you arrive on campus early. Lily, what's your favourite bit of campus?
I actually live really close in student housing on campus, which I'm super fortunate for. And coming from a place like Canada, I'm really not used to this type of architecture and history. So it's kind of just stunning. I feel lucky every day to just be around such beautiful buildings and in the city. So I usually go, and my favorite parts of the campus are the coffee shops, sort of picked around campus. And there's one called the Gilchrist Postgrad Cafe. It's specifically for postgrad students, I think, and teachers, but anyone can go in. And I spend a lot of time in there, as well as the coffee house just behind it as well in the old building. And yeah, that's where I've liked to do a lot of work, write a lot of my essays just to get out of my room. And it's a beautiful to walk to campus through the park, as well as the way I go through the Kelvin Grove Park. And it's just a really gorgeous place. I've never seen anything like it before, coming from such a new founded country compared to over here in the UK. So it's really beautiful.
Yeah, and certainly there are so many different places where you can sit and work. And I know, talking to my students, that many of them, they develop their own routines. They'll have their own favourite spot on campus. So some of them enjoy going to the library. And there's lots of study spaces in the library. Some people enjoy going to the new James McCune Smith Teaching and Learning Hub. There's lots of different places to go there, and several different places even within that one building where you can just grab a cup of coffee or tea and just go and sit with your laptop and just work for a wee bit. So we're really lucky. Campus is quite large, but that means that there really is something for everyone. So we've got these wonderful older buildings, and then also the sort of brand new state-of-the-art buildings side by side, and it's just really, really nice. So both of you mentioned that where you live. So Luna, you said that you live quite far away from campus, but Lily, you said you live quite close to campus. Are either of you in student accommodation, or did you find private accommodation?
So I'm in private accommodation personally, with my fiance. So.
Yeah, nice. And Lily, are you in student accommodation?
I am, yeah. I'm living in the Kelvin Grove house, which is student accommodation through the university. I did the whole student applying accommodation process, and it's a really lovely location. I don't think it could get better. But I've also visited a bunch of the other accommodations through peers and classmates and stuff, and a lot of the student accommodations is really top notch.
Yeah. So there is a lot of accommodations that are quite close by, but sometimes people choose to live a little bit further afield. And that's the really good thing about Glasgow as well, is that it's pretty well connected with public transport too. So have either of you experienced the subway, the Clockwork Orange, as it's sometimes called, colloquially known? Yeah. So I use the subway every day to get to work. They've just got this brand new fleet of trains, and they are quite shugly, which is a good Glasgow word for you. But the Clockwork Orange is the only circular underground system in the world, I believe. But there's also lots of trains. So there's a couple of train stations that are close by, and the university's on lots of different bus routes as well. So public transport is pretty good. So I hope that you're enjoying your course, but I know that, for example, I think there's a special session on comparative literature coming up. So there are different courses with different sessions to talk about your course itself. So I'd like to just talk a little bit about what you like to do that isn't academic work. So the academic work is important, and it's what brings you, what originally brought you to Glasgow. So we need to make sure that the course is ticking all of those boxes for you. But Glasgow as a city and the places around Glasgow, is there anything that you've particularly enjoyed doing? So we'll come to you first, Lily. Anything that you've seen, that you've experienced?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really starting, especially with the weather getting better and the coursework a little bit lightening with during this period between exams and dissertation time. I've been really enjoying seeing the different green spaces across Glasgow. I went to Pollock County Park for the first time the other day, and it was gorgeous. I didn't realize exactly how big it would be. It has a free art gallery right as you walk in the park, and I didn't go all the way in, but I believe there's maybe a castle or a big manor there as well. And that's a good place to find some of the Highland cows, and it's just gorgeous. And I live across from the Kelvin Grove Park as well, a gorgeous park walk. The Botanic Gardens also is a big park that I didn't really realize before going there, and it's just really great to go outside and explore the city in these big park areas.
Yeah, and Glasgow is known as a very, very green city. So there are parks absolutely everywhere. And the university is sort of almost sandwiched between two really big parks. So there's the Botanic Gardens, and there's the Kelvin Grove Park as well. And I agree with you. I love going to Pollock and seeing the Highland cows. I know that some of my students made a special trip to see, when they came to Scotland from China, actually, this particular group of students, seeing Highland cows was one of the things that they really wanted to do. And so they went to Pollock Park and they managed to see some. And the museum, the art gallery that you mentioned, I think that was the Burrell collection. And Glasgow's really, it's got a really, really great art and museum collection. So the Burrell is well worth a visit. It's recently reopened following a refurbishment. So it's great that it was open in time for you to come. Anyway, Luna, sorry, I haven't yet asked you that question. So what have you enjoyed doing round about Glasgow?
Oh, well, I did my undergraduate degree in English and film, so I'm a huge film person, and Glasgow is great for that. I particularly love going to the Glasgow Film Theatre to support sort of independent theatres, and it's always good, no matter the weather as well, which is so nice because the majority of the time I've been here, it's been raining.
Yeah. It's great, and the GFT, Glasgow Film Theatre, it's a really, really great resource that we're very lucky to have in Glasgow as well. Is there anything that you're planning to do over the summer, when you're here in the summer, that you're really looking forward to doing? So we'll come to you first, Luna.
Yeah, my mom is actually coming to visit for the first time. And we're definitely going to see Pollock Park. We're very excited about the Highland cows. But other than that, I think we're going to make a little day trip out to the aquarium, which is closer to the coast as well. So those are things I'm very, very much looking forward to.
Yeah, smashing, good. And Lily, what about you? Are you planning any special trips over the summer?
Yeah. Again, coming from such a large country across the sea, Canada, I'm really not used to. It's very amazing to me that how close everything is here now that I'm over here, and the flights and resources like Ryanair, or these flights that are so accessible and cheap, because from province to province it's like extremely expensive just to go within your own country. So I really want to take advantage of these really interesting countries right around here in the UK. I think I have one planned to go to Spain, which I'm really excited for, just for a few days. I have family in Ireland as well that I would love to go pop over and see them for a while. And but yeah, just I would also like to just take advantage of the train system here as well in Glasgow, go up to Stirling or go up to a few of the places here in Scotland. I would just love to. Yeah, we don't really have a train system in Edmonton either that goes around, so it seems like a great resource to take advantage of.
Yeah. I mean, I love the fact that it's actually quite easy to get to some of the other places in Scotland that you'd like to go to. So when you're in Glasgow city centre, you can get a train out, and you can get the train links often with the ferry, so you can get a ferry to one of the islands, or you can get a train up to Aberdeen and the northeast coast, or you can get a train up to Inverness, and you can see some wonderful countryside on the way as well. So I think we're really, really lucky in how easy it is to get around. And you mentioned going to Spain, and of course we're not too far from Glasgow Airport, and there's also Edinburgh Airport is really, really close by. So I can see a few questions coming through in the chat about scholarships, and I think that there's been a link put in the chat as well, just guiding you towards the resources that we have available for scholarships. The best thing to do with scholarships is to really do your research, because there's some scholarships which have got sort of quite tight or restrictive criteria about who they can be awarded to, and others that are much more broad. So the best thing to do is to just go and have a look, just follow the link which has appeared in the chat. Other than that, there's a really good question there in the chat from Jade, who says that they have very little experience traveling internationally. Is there something that you wish you knew before moving, either about the school or about the country? That is an absolutely great question. So I'm going to ask about the school or the university first of all, and then we'll do the country as a second part. So Luna, what about the school or the university did you wish you knew before you started?
You know, I was very lucky, and I also did my undergraduate degree in Scotland. I did it at the University of Aberdeen, and I honestly think that prepared me very well for what's going on in Glasgow. But from my experience with other international students, maybe look into the grading system. That seems to be the one that's the most confusing for people. For me, I was used to it because of my undergraduate degree, but when I got to my undergraduate, it was incredibly confusing to understand the grading system. So maybe be aware of that.
Yeah. And you can find details when you're here. Most course handbooks would have details of the system, but we use a 22-point scale at Glasgow rather than percentages, which you're right, it does often. It's often a bit of a surprise for students at postgraduate level if they come from a university where percentages or some other system is used. So it's worth going and following the resources in your course or program handbook for that. Lily, what about you? Is there anything that you found surprising or you wish you'd known before you got here about the university or about your school?
I would agree with the grading. I didn't realize it would be a different system. So when I came here, it was a little bit confusing. I had no clue for a moment what anything meant, but you can also easily learn. And there's guidelines online that help you know what B1 versus A5 is, because where I'm from, it's just A, B, C type thing in North America, in Canada specifically. But that's a good one. And then also, I think I relate. I didn't have much experience internationally traveling, and also this was my first time moving out as well. So I was really nervous about independently living, and then as well as meeting new people. And I think that I wish I had known that it's really easy to connect with people on campus. There's no need to be stressed or worried about that. There's loads of things set up to mingle with other students, international students particularly. I have a lot of connections to meet, and clubs and societies are a great resource as well. And I personally had no trouble meeting people, and that was a big stressor of mine.
Yeah, I think it's always that when you start anything new, isn't it? It's the how easily you're going to be able to make friends and meet with people. I know that many program leaders set things up deliberately to try and break the ice a little bit with the class, with the cohort that they have coming in. Just because if you all know each other, then actually you become easier to teach and everybody has a much better time. But it's important to do things that aren't just your academic study as well. And so the SRC are a brilliant resource. So they have loads and loads and loads of different clubs and societies. So you'll find ones which are based on the individual course. So there'll be ones that are based on music or on comparative literature, I'm sure. But there are also ones based around all sorts of other things. So there's, I think, geographically based societies. So, there might be the Indonesian society, or is there a Danish society, or is it a Scandinavian student society? I'm sure there's at least
likely.
one of
There's some for anything, it seems. I saw a poster for a cheese society yesterday. So
Ooh.
for those who like cheese.
A cheese society sounds absolutely amazing. I might actually have to look into that and see if staff are able to join. Yeah, so you can see the link on the screen, and you can go and browse all the different societies that there are. There are ones based on language, including things like British Sign Language. There are, as I say, ones based on academics. There are ones based on different sports. So one of my students this year is really into his basketball. So he's a member of the Glasgow University basketball team, and he really enjoys playing, and that's a way that he's managed to meet people really very easily who aren't just the people on his course, and that's been hugely valuable for him and for other students that I've had in the past. So yeah, but I'm definitely going to check out the Cheese Society. So the second part of Jade's question was about what you wish you'd known before you moved to the country. So before you moved to Scotland, what did you wish you knew? So we'll come to you first, Lily, about that. What do you wish you knew about Scotland?
I visited Scotland before, so I had a little bit of a notion, but it's an extremely friendly country, like we sort of talked about before. It's super common and normal for people to come up to you, to speak to you, to have interactions with people on the street. That's super common. It is sort of a stereotype, but it is quite wet. The weather is very wet, so make sure that you take care in packing good weather-resistant clothes when you come here. And I know that kind of personally, when I was coming from Canada, I come from a very cold province, and I packed as if the winters here were going to be Canadian winters, and I think I wasted a lot of room in my bags with coats and sweaters that were it doesn't get too cold here for my standards in the winter, but just wet and rainy, not too much snow. So I would prioritize more wet weather resistant things than if you're from a very, very cold country, you won't need too much winter gear that someone from northern Alberta might need, but because that takes up a lot of room. And if you find yourself struggling for room bringing stuff over here, you can also buy some really good things here as well. You don't have to worry about bringing stuff from home, because that's sort of a mistake that I think I did. And you might find better quality things suited to the country here compared to trying to find stuff from home to bring here, like rain jackets or rain boots that might be more expensive in a place that doesn't really have the climate for it, like northern Alberta. We don't get too much rain, and then some really good quality rain gear would be more expensive over there. So that's just a little bit of a tip for the weather that I found that I sort of had a mistake, but you can buy some really good things here.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. Luna, so what did you find surprising? Not necessarily when you went to Glasgow, if you've been in Aberdeen first, but when you first moved to Scotland, what did you find surprising?
Yeah, I had about two things. One being quite minor, but also quite important, which is that at least from continental Europe, the shape of the pillows here are different. We have square pillows in continental Europe, and here they're rectangular. So none of the bedding that my mom had very, very sweetly purchased for me actually fit my pillows. So that's just something to be aware of. And it definitely took some time to get used to sleeping on a rectangular pillow, as weird as that sounds. And secondly was just how distinct Scottish culture is from English culture or British culture, and how important it is to understand that difference when you live here, just sort of historically, but also culturally. It was definitely not what I'd seen in TV shows growing up, or the likes, but like the Scottish culture is it's beautiful and it's wonderful, and it's nice to see that people are holding on to that.
Yeah, good. So have either of you been to a Kaye? So for those of you who are joining us on the chat, a Kaye is where we have Scottish music and we do Scottish dancing, and they're very popular. So what was your experience at a Kaye? So Lily, I saw you nodding your head. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a fundraiser Kaye on campus. I forget exactly what the charity was for, but I went. And it was my first Kaye here. I have an Irish family, so I was familiar with what it entails kind of for Irish Kayleys, but it was great fun. I was really worried about not knowing the dances because they have like preset dances and preset moves, and everyone there seemed to understand fully what was going on. But the band, there was a live Kaye band, and they sort of walked you through the dances right before doing them, and it was lots of fun. That was a great way to meet new people as well, because you're kind of switching up partners and it's moving really fast. And it was fantastic. It was at the Union, the Glasgow University Union on campus. That's a fantastic building. I would recommend becoming a member. It's free and it's a great old building, and they have events all the time there. And the Kaye was great. I would recommend going to one if you can. It's great for the culture to find out exactly how much fun and how welcoming, and the music and the dance of it.
Yeah. Kayleys are great fun. So Luna, have you been to a Kaye?
I have not actually, which is a bit shameful to say after 5 years in the country, but the one that I was supposed to go to was canceled because of COVID, and then subsequently everything else was canceled because of COVID. But I am hoping to go to one before I leave the country.
Right, we will make sure that happens. We'll be hunting down details of Kayleys and we'll be sending them to you, Luna.
Perfect,
I mean, I love a Kaye, and I think that actually for Kayleys who are trained students, then they quite often have what you described, Lily, of someone who's doing a calling, will call out the dances for you, just describe what you're supposed to do, show you what you have to do for the dances at the start. But if you get it wrong, nobody really cares. The point is to have fun and to enjoy yourself. So I'm sorry, I'm neglecting the questions with all this talk about Scottish culture and Kaye. I'm going to talk about Scottish food in a minute, so you can be thinking about that. But there's a question which has come in saying, is it uncommon to see older students attending university courses? This person is retiring from their first career and applying for their second postgraduate. I can certainly speak about what I see from the other side. When I look out at my classroom of postgraduate students, then it's not at all uncommon to see students of all different ages. So of the master's program that I convene, probably about half the people are within a year or two of graduating from the first degree, and the other half anything from probably 5 years plus, to lots of different people changing careers or who've come to the end of their first career and making the move to do something a bit different a bit later in life. So it's not at all uncommon. Would that chime with your experience, Luna and Lily?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it depends. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
On you go, Lily. Sorry, that's my fault.
I was just gonna say, I definitely think it depends where you come from as well, because I noticed a difference. Where I'm from, it's actually more common to join post-grad programs and stuff years and years after your undergrad. And I noticed like there's more, it's more half and half here. There's like you just said, Adele, right after your undergrad, there's about half, and then and then about the other half is a good 5 years on more. But yeah, from where I'm from, it's extremely common to have more time in between, and that's what I'm doing. And it's I've noticed it's almost half and half here as well for all the things.
Yeah, that's really good to hear from two completely different areas in the College of Arts to the one that I'm from. I think the oldest student I've ever taught was in their 80s from memory. So it really is very, very varied. So I would say if you want to do it, then just go ahead, because we regret things in life, don't we, that we don't do, rather than the things that we've thought about doing, and it's always better to give something a go.
And if I could just add, sorry, that it's never too late to learn, and no one would ever judge you or anything for your age when you're in a degree or anything. Everyone would just welcome you like a student that they are as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because everybody, especially at postgraduate level, what's really great when we're teaching postgraduate taught students actually is that it's a degree that people really want to do. I think we finish school and quite often there's this expectation that we'll go to university and we're not always quite sure why we've made the choices that we've made. You know, we no shade to history at all, because I did a history degree, but history was my favourite subject at school. So it seemed natural that I go on and do history as an undergraduate at university. But by the time I did my master's, my postgraduate taught course, that was absolutely a positive choice. And I was in the classroom quite soon after graduating when I did my master's, but I was with people who were a number of years away from their first degree. And we were all there with this one common goal. We were all just really, really interested in the subject. So that's, you know, that's absolutely great. I've seen another question come in the chat, which I can answer because my home subject is information studies. So there is a question about the MSc Library and Information Studies and when it might receive CILIP accreditation. So we have been in touch with CILIP, and we have a letter from CILIP which states, broadly speaking, that in positive terms that they're happy, and formal accreditation. They'll undertake the sort of formal accreditation process through the year. So it's expected, never a guarantee, but it's expected that will be through by the time this next cohort of students graduate. So that's a brand new program in Library and Information Studies. So sorry, that's a bit niche, and I can answer that because that's my department. We have CILIP accreditation for the other programs which we have within information studies subject area, information management and preservation, which is the best degree because that's the degree that I teach on, and also museum studies, and also for our undergraduate degree as well. But if you want to email into the subject area, then we can send you further details. Okay, so I said I was going to talk about food and Scottish food. One of my favourite dishes, and I realise this might be a wee bit controversial, but one of my favourite dishes is haggis. I love haggis. Have you two tried haggis, and did you like it? So I'll come to you first, Lily. Have you had haggis and did you like it?
Yeah, and funny enough, I was definitely worried. I definitely thought I wouldn't like it when I was gonna try it, but I do like it. It's quite delicious. And in all the forms as well. And I'm thought I would be more picky going into it, and I was converted when I came here. It's quite good.
Yeah, that's really good. It's always a try. I really like vegetarian haggis. I'm not vegetarian. I like normal haggis, but I love the vegetarian haggis. It's just so oatmeally and spicy. It's great. Luna, do you like haggis?
Yeah, actually. So now that you mention it, I'm a vegetarian, and I have been since before I moved here. So I've only ever tried the vegetarian haggis, but if there are any other veggies out there, it is absolutely delightful. I love vegetarian haggis. We have it for Christmas now, even, and it's delightful, and I love it a lot.
Yeah, that's good. I tell you, you wouldn't like this because it's chicken, Luna, but I really like haggis stuffed inside a chicken. And I can see at least one haggis lover in the chat as well. So that's really, really good to see. But of course, Scottish food is not just haggis. So what else have you tried here that you've really enjoyed, food or drink?
Oh my, I think, first of all, the food scene in Glasgow alone is, incredible. And if you're a foodie, you're going to have your palate full of food. Personally, I've tried the deep fried Mars bar. It wasn't for me. It was too sweet, but try it because it is fun. And other than that, I personally love all of the Indian food that is in Glasgow. It's not necessarily Scottish food, but it's not necessarily not Scottish food either. So definitely try out some local Indian places.
Yeah, there's some really, really great Indian restaurants near campus, some brilliant ones in Glasgow generally, but also some very close to Glasgow, to campus. And Glasgow is 850 years old. I'm not quite sure how they calculate this, but it's 850 years old today. And the Taste of Place is part of Glasgow's 850th birthday celebrations. And there's a link in the chat which can give you further information about that. What about you, Lily? What other Scottish food or drink have you tried and liked?
I'm really partial to Scullen. How do you Scullen King?
Oh, Cullen Skink. Yes, yeah. Uh-huh.
I really like that one. It's a haddock soup, I believe. And every time I've tried it, I've really liked it.
Yeah, well, I can talk about that because my husband is from that part of the world. My husband's from Buckie, just along from the Moray Firth, and his sister makes the best Cullen skink. So it's smoked haddock. It's quite a simple, quite a simple recipe with smoked haddock and onion and potato and milk. I think I've forgotten something, having said it's really simple, because I always just make my sister-in-law make it for me because hers is the best. But Cullen skink is great. But there are lots of these regional recipes throughout Scotland. And, you'll go somewhere and see what the local speciality is, and it is invariably delicious based on really good food. And lentil soup as well. Everywhere you go, you get lentil soup, but it tastes different everywhere because everyone has their own special recipe. So I'm a big fan of lentil soup and all the different soups that we have, which are great for the winter months when it is a bit colder. Maybe not cold as Lily would experience at home, but when it's a bit colder, then the soup is great. And what about drinks? Do either of you like Iron Brew? See, is it true that Scotland's the only country in the world where Coca-Cola is not the top selling drink, and instead that's Iron Brew? So,
yeah,
yeah, I really like Iron Brew.
In my defense, I don't really like any sugary drinks, so I don't think it's on the Iron Brew. I think it's just on me.
Yeah. That's great. But yeah, there's so much, so many different places to go and eat and drink, and so many different things to try, and there's always new places opening up as well. Okay, so you both mentioned your dissertations in the original introduction. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your dissertations and where you've been doing that research, and what inspired you to write those or to research those dissertations in the first place. So just if you're joining us from elsewhere in the world, then the dissertation is the part at the end of the talk masters. So it's an in-depth research project. They can be presented differently, and it varies from department to department about exactly how long they will be, but roughly they're normally about 12 or 15,000 words long. They can be presented in different mediums depending on your department again. So Luna, we'll come to you first. Can you tell us what your dissertation is on, and a little bit about the research you've done so far?
Yes. So my dissertation is about comparative iterations of the Hades and Persephone myth. And I'll be comparing across 2 novels and a video game, which is so exciting. Literature is not just a book, if you were wondering. So the video game is sort of exciting. And I came into this degree knowing that I wanted to do something about myth. That's sort of my very niche interest is anything myth related. And the research has taken me so many places. It has taken me what is a myth? How do we define myth? What do we use myths for? I also had to do a bunch of research into genres. So stuff like, how do we analyze a video game? How do video games tell narratives? What does a romance book have to do with Persephone and Hades? How do we tailor these experiences to different audiences? And I'm very excited about it.
Oh, that sounds great. And so you said you've done lots of research. Has that been in the library or the archives, special collections?
It has primarily been through the online library at Glasgow, just because they have all of the researchers or the resources that I need. I have experienced using some of the rare archives and stuff like that through classes, and I would highly recommend trying that if you get the chance to, if you go to Glasgow. But personally, I won't need anything in the archives or special collections for my dissertation.
I'm really pleased that you mentioned having seen some of the great resources we have from archives and special collections. And there's a link on the screen, and that's where I started my career at the University of Glasgow. So I always try to make sure we have a wee link at some point in the chat to archives and special collections.
Yeah, and there's a really cool edition of, there's both an Alice in Wonderland edition, and there's also a Pride and Prejudice edition in the special collections, and it is so cool to see very old books, if you're a nerd like
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it is. And I'm so, I take a lot of my classes there as part of our teaching, and I just, every time I'll see something different, and that's from me having worked there. But every time I'll manage to see something that I've not seen before. The collection is huge and amazing, and the library is great too. So you mentioned as well being able to see lots of things online, and this is a shift that we've seen throughout higher education. I suppose it was starting before COVID, but COVID really accelerated the amount that was available online. So now we can go and we can see so much. So if I need an article for something that I'm doing, then I can access it online, or there's so many ebooks, but the library building itself is still there and still a wonderful resource. So Lily, would you like to tell us about your dissertation?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a singer-songwriter and performer as well, as a student. And I before coming here, I had been performing and playing shows and being an artist in Edmonton in Canada. And I noticed that being more active in the scene and stuff, I had these certain experiences. So coming here, I wanted to see. I was reading a lot of literature throughout the sorry, I'm forgetting my words, throughout the year. A lot of the literature sort of focused around inclusion and gender diversity within the music scenes, and I noticed that was something that I'm really interested in. But I noticed that most of the literature had sort of a wide lens. It was either focusing on the music industries as a whole, the Western music scenes, or country-based. So it would be women in the music scenes in the UK, or women in the music scenes in the US, or these big lenses. And I thought that it would be important to really narrow it down and look at a certain city and look at exactly the inclusion rates and the people's experiences with this in a city, so it can be an example of, this is happening in your backyard. This is not just a very broad problem. And so I'm going to be looking at the I had my first dissertation meeting the other day, so it's very beginning stages, but I think I'll be looking at Edmonton, where I'm from, the scene, different genres, and different inclusion rates in the different genres in the local music scene there, and see the people's experiences with that.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. And I mentioned that there are sessions happening later on. So you, I think there's a question come in through the chat about playwriting, but there's a session today at 4:05 this afternoon, our time, covering all of our theatre studies postgraduate programs. So if you're interested in that, then that would be great. There's also a question about applied dissertation versus dissertations. So applied dissertations, it's not something that's offered by every program, but you'll find at postgraduate talk level, for most programs, there will be an element of applied, or an element of sort of professional preparation and theory and practice, and the way that they link together. But really, it really depends on the program as to how that is. So I think we've got 5 minutes left of our time, 5 minutes or so. So if you've got any final questions, please do put them in the chat. And I'm going to ask Lily and Luna now a question about if you've been involved in any festivals or any other events, or as part of your degree, or entirely separate from your degree, that you've really enjoyed. So I'll come to you first, Lily.
Yeah, this is separate from the campus and school, but I guess it relates to my degree because it's music and performance. But I took part of the Celtic Connections Festival that happens here in the city, and I was honored to be a part of it. It's this fantastic festival that has gigs going on. I think it's for the whole month of February and maybe January as well. And it was great. It was at the Scottish. I forget the venue. It's at the top of Buchanan Street.
The concert hall.
Yes, the concert hall. Beautiful place there. That was a fantastic festival, music festival I was a part of. I'm also going to be a part of this one that's on campus. That's part of the university, I believe, called Deer Green Music Scene. run by Professor Matt Brennan, and that will be fantastic. I believe he said it's going to be all women and non-binary performers performing on that day, and I'm super excited to be a part of it. And that will be on June 15th, I believe. And yeah, I'm just buzzing for a bunch of the different festivals coming up, and there's great ones that happen in the city as well. Those are some 2 ones that I'm excited for.
Yeah, oh, that's fantastic. And what about you, Luna? Have you managed to get involved in anything from out with
No, I didn't manage to be involved, but I did attend the Glasgow Film Festival as a visitor, and I would highly recommend, as always. Like I said earlier, I'm a huge sort of film buff, so the film festival is just a wonderful time to see both local and international films. And as for on campus, I will be presenting a paper at the upcoming PG conference in May, which I'm very excited about.
Well, good luck with your paper. They sound absolutely fantastic. I really hope that everybody's enjoyed the chat here today. I'm just trying to see if there's any final questions coming through. I really hope that you've enjoyed your chat today. If you've got any questions specific to your program, then have a look and see if there's any program sessions that have either been or that you can link into that might be happening later on. You can find lots of information about the different courses available on our website, and so we can find you plenty. Hopefully you'll be able to find plenty of links there. Glasgow is an amazing city, and Glasgow University is an amazing university, and I'm really proud to be working here. So good luck everybody with your application. Huge thanks to Lily and to Luna for your participation in the chat today. It's been really great to hear from you and hear about your experiences in Glasgow and what it's like coming to a brand new city and a brand new university and a brand new country as well. And I really hope that we see some of you who've been here on the chat in Glasgow very soon. So thank you very much, everybody. Thanks.